Biblical Hebrew 1, Chapter 18, Call Imperative, Cohortatives, and Jussives. Imperatives are words that express volition, such as commands, desires, or wishes. These can be divided into second-person forms, which are going to be called imperatives, or in the first-person forms, these are going to be called cohortatives, and then in the third-person forms, these are going to be called jussives. So second-person imperative is commanding someone in the second person, singular or plural, you do something, y'all do something, y'all go here. So those are going to be addressed in second person. The first-person cohortatives are talking to myself in first person singular or in plural to us or to we. So as a cohortative, we would say, I wish to do something, or let us do something, let us go up to Zion would be a first person cohortative. And then the third person in volitional forms are going to be called jussives here. So this is telling someone in the third person, let him go, let him do this, or let them in the plural do this. And in Hebrew, all of the imperative volitional forms are going to be based on the form of the imperfect conjugation. So the call imperative, the second person form, can be a direct command to grant permission or communicate a request. So the second person imperfect form of the verb, if you remember, is yiktol with the yud prefix. So to express the imperative form, we're going to remove the prefix. So instead of yiktol, the first form is going to be ketol. So the same form as the imperfect, just removing the prefix. So here we have the paradigm for the call imperative, ketol, kitli, kitlu, ketolna. So here we have a second masculine singular, second feminine singular, second masculine plural, and third or second feminine plural form. And then the second masculine singular has an alternate form that can add a kametz he to the end. Here we see it as katla as well. To negate an imperative, we would add the negative particle, either the al or lo, plus the imperfect or the imperative form. So just a reminder from earlier chapters, lo is an absolute and permanent prohibition. Al is an immediate or specific prohibition. So here's an example of how the imperative is used. Ivdu et Adonai, serve the Lord, so direct command. And the other uses also you can see from this chapter are to grant permission or to communicate a request in addition to the form that is a direct command. Imperatives can also have this particle na added, which adds a slight nuance of, in English we would say, please, could you please do this? Could you please pass the ketchup? So slightly more polite form of a command. Shemar na, please observe the commandments. And then as we would expect, sometimes the spelling is going to change with weak verbs, with gutturals, with third hey verbs, and so forth. These are all predictable changes that you've already learned in how the imperfect and perfect verb forms change. So they're going to follow the expected changes for irregular letters. And we can identify or use the endings to identify the imperatives. Just remember that it's the imperfect form that has lost the prefix and leaving us with the imperative form. So the call cohortatives are the first person volitionals. So let me do this, let us do this, I wish to do something. So these are going to use the first person imperfect forms unchanged. So the same form of the imperfect verbs that we have. So cohortatives are going to come first in a sentence, so that will help you identify them. So here we have Na'aseh Adam Betzalmenu, let us make man in our image. And then another example, Kol Asher Diber Adonai Na'aseh. So the first one is occurring first in the sentence, Na'aseh Adam Betzalmenu. So that one is going to be a cohortative. But notice that it looks just like the Na'aseh in the second sentence, Kol Asher Diber Adonai Na'aseh. all that the Lord has spoken we will do. So the second one there is just a regular call imperfect first common plural of asa, to do. So these are the exact same forms, but the cohortative will be identified because it occurs first in a sentence versus the regular imperfect, which occurs here at the end of the second sentence. And with the cohortatives, you can also add the particle na that we had with the imperative to express please. Let us please do this. Let us please go here, and so forth. And also at the end, or at the bottom of the page here, we see that some cohortatives can also add a hey at the end, which is helpful in identifying them versus the regular imperfect first common plural. Actually, 65% of the time there's going to be a hey added at the end, so that will help you identify it as the cohortative rather than the imperfect first common plural form. And then with the jussive forms, these are the third person volitionals, let him, let them, third plural forms of volition. And these are going to use the third person imperfect forms that are unchanged. So like with the cohortatives that use the first person forms unchanged, the jussives use the third person forms unchanged. They are also going to occur first in the sentence, at the beginning of the sentence, so that will help you identify them versus the imperfect third masculine or third plural forms or so forth. These can also add the na particle to say please, can he please do this, can let them please do this. And then with the third hey form, there's going to be a shortened form. There's a few vowel changes that occur with jussives as well. These are all predictable changes that we've already encountered with the call perfect and call imperfect verb forms. So here's a few examples of the jussive. Yizkor na hamelech et Adonai. So we have yizkor. If you just look at that verb, it could either be the imperfect third masculine singular, or as we're learning right now, it can also be a jussive, indicating a third person volitional form. And the na that comes right after it is a straight giveaway that this is going to be the jussive form. Let the king remember the Lord. But we can also identify it as a jussive because it occurs first in the sentence here as well. So the na particle and then the fact that it occurs first in the sentence are going to indicate it's a jussive and indicate that it has a volitional form instead of just the third masculine singular call imperfect form. Second sentence, Yishbot Adonai Beini Uveinecha. This one again occurs, the Yishbot here at the beginning of the sentence, so it's going to identify this as a jussive with a volitional force. May the Lord judge between me and you, instead of the Lord will judge between me and you if it was just a call imperfect form. And then the cohortatives and jussives are negated with the al particle. And this is a bit milder expression than the prohibition with the lo plus imperfect, which was another way to express a prohibition, as we learned earlier in the chapter on imperfects. Now the vocabulary for chapter 18. Bachar, to choose, to test, to examine. Bin, to understand, perceive, consider. Darash, to seek, inquire, investigate, to ask for, require, demand. Harag, to kill, to slay. Hafetz, to delight in, take pleasure in, desire, to be willing. Tov, to be good, pleasing, pleasant, joyful, to be well with. Kadash, to be holy, set apart, or consecrated. Ra'ah, to pasture, tend flocks, shepherd, feed. Sha'al, to ask of, inquire, request, demand. Baal, owner, master, husband, or the divine title Baal that we encounter in the Bible. Shevet, rod, staff, scepter, tribe. Ba'ad, behind or through. Ya'an, on account of. Na is please, now, or surely, the particle that goes with the imperative in cohortative and jussive forms.